Hey everyone, welcome to my second video on Atem auto switching. Video follows audio. This time around, I'm going to show you how to auto switch to a wide camera shot or any other source for that matter based on multiple people speaking at once or based on no one speaking at all. Here's what you need to know before we start. You need to have watched my first video on this, which is linked in the description. And then you're going to need to have your auto switching system already set up and ready to go. You're also going to have to modify your auto switching code based on the things that we do in this video. I will have a copy of the code changes I make today in the description for you to copy and paste. Also, you're going to need an audio mixer or a digital audio workstation and audio interface that are capable of doing side chaining. What this is a way to trigger channel-specific functions like a compressor or a gate based on a signal provided by another channel or a bus. We're completely relying on side chaining to achieve our goal today. So if you don't have that ability, you won't be able to do this additional auto switching. And no, you can't do this with the software mixer that comes with the Atem. That software does not have the ability to side chain. And one final thing before we get going. If you're pairing this with the setup we did in the previous video, you're going to be limited to what you can actually pull off based on the number of audio inputs and outputs that you have with your hardware. With all of that out of the way, I'm going to show you how to auto switch to a wide shot right now. Let's go! Okay, so let's talk about the equipment I've got here set up to make this happen. I am using a Behringer XR16 mixer. I have a production camera up here, which has 2 XLR inputs, and I've got this Shure microphone, and I have this lav. I'm using these 2 microphones as my triggers to switch cameras. So if we look at my mixer software, we can see that I have microphone 1, microphone 2, tone generator 1, and tone generator 2. So microphone 1 is this, microphone 2 is this, and my tone generators are just a way to have a constant signal outputting into my mixer. I don't have a way to do a tone generator inside my actual mixer. So what I'm doing is I'm using a website called onlinetonegenerator.com, and I'm just outputting a regular 440 hertz sine wave. I've piped it out of my computer and into channel 3 on my mixer. If we look at channel 3, which is tone generator 1, and we look at the input, you can see that it's actually input 3. Now on input 4, which is my tone generator 2, instead of running a second tone generator, I'm just duplicating the input. This will be doable or not doable for you depending on how your hardware and software works. So all I did on channel strip 4 was tell it to look on input number 3 for the same signal that I'm already capturing. Now on channel strip 3, which is tone generator 1, what I've done is I've inserted a gate. A gate stops signal from going through unless the threshold is passed. So you can see the threshold jumping right here. And until that signal passes this line, which is set at minus 34.5, no signal will be allowed to leave that channel. Threshold is important. Attack, hold, release are also important. This tells the system how quickly to open the gate when the threshold is passed, how long to hold on to the signal being open after the threshold has fallen below, and then the release is how quickly it releases. You'll have to mess with all these settings to get a really nice fade in and out of your audio signal to trigger your camera movements. Now on tone generator 2, we've done the opposite of a gate. We've done a compressor. So a compressor, when the threshold is passed, which you can see right now is down at 51.5, what it does is it stops signal from going out when the threshold is passed. So the tone generator on that one is actually going out all the time unless microphone input is squashing it down. So why is this important? Okay, on channel strip 3, which is tone generator 1, our gate will stop signal going through unless our threshold is passed. That means it will keep that channel silent unless sound builds up. Meaning if multiple people are speaking at the same time, that signal will cross the threshold, open the gate and allow the tone generator through. When that happens, it's going to trigger a camera change, in this case, our wide shot, so that we can get a shot of everybody who's speaking at once. Now, on channel strip 4, which is tone generator 2, we're doing the opposite. So when everybody is silent, it will stop squashing the signal and the compressor will go away and allow signal through. And when that happens, it will again trigger a change. In this case, we're just doing the same camera change, which is to our wide shot. So what will happen here is when everybody is silent, so say at the end of a discussion, it will cut to the wide shot to show everybody just sort of chatting in the background. So here's the really important part. How do we actually trigger the threshold on both the gate and the compressor? So let's start with tone generator 1. What we're doing is we're using a mix together of all the microphones that we have live to build up sound and cross the threshold. And we're doing this by side chaining. So in the gate on tone generator 1, you can see here we've got a side chain. And we're telling the side chain its key source is going to be bus 1. Now, quickly, if we look at tone generator 2 under the compressor, you can see that we're actually using bus 2 to trigger the change. So what does this mean? If I look at my bus 1 over here, so a bus is really just another pathway to send signal through your mixer. And you can send multiple signals to a bus. So in this case, bus 1, to trigger our tone generator 1, we're sending this much signal from microphone 1 and microphone 2. If we look at bus 2, this is how much microphone level we're sending to our compressor. Now you'll notice that these levels are different. What you need to know here is that these are levels that I've sort of tweaked to trigger things based on the input that I have going and based on my equipment. These settings, along with your threshold, your attack, hold, release, all of this will be things that you have to tweak in your system to make work well for you. And I'll say now that this will probably be an ongoing thing. It's not a set and forget. Whenever you go from event to event, you'll probably have different people, and different people have different volumes of voice and different characteristics to their voice. Some may trigger stuff at a lower frequency, some at a higher frequency. So this will need to be something that you have to adjust as you go. If you have the same people all the time, you might get lucky and your settings will need only very minor tweaking, but this is a thing you should be aware of. This is an ongoing process. So now we know that we're using bus 1 and bus 2 to trigger our gate and compressor respectively. What happens after that? So what happens after that is we're actually using bus 3 and bus 4. Now bus 3 and 4 are actually assigned to physical outputs on my mixer. So bus 3 and bus 4 have XLR outputs coming out of the mixer and going into my production camera, left channel and right channel respectively. That camera then outputs those signals over HDMI into my Atem. And on my Atem, I have that HDMI input split on the audio side so that it's not a stereo channel, it's now 2 mono channels left and right. And what happens is the auto switching software monitors the left side and the right side independently, and both of those sides trigger one of the 2 things that we need to happen. So the left side is going to trigger the gate and the right side is going to trigger the compressor. So there's only a few more things that I want to mention before we actually do our test. The first thing is you can see that I have the monitoring prompt open. This is showing us in real time what's happening on any audio input coming into the Atem. And I also have the auto switching command running. You can see there's a little bit of difference between the two. The monitor is showing everything that has audio coming in, and the auto switch command is only showing the ones that are being monitored for auto switching purposes. And then the next thing I want to point out is our new code. This code is different from what we used in the last video only because we've changed things. So let's talk about what we're doing here. On our Atem microphone input number 2, which is designated as 1302, it's split into 2 channels, left and right. And also our HDMI input 8 is split into left and right. The reason for that is input 8 is my production camera here, and that's monitoring the left and right channels to make our wide camera switches. And on the microphone input number 2, that's actually receiving input from this microphone and this microphone. So those are split and they're receiving left and right, left and right. And you can see that happening in real time down here. Okay, we're set up and ready to test. If I speak into microphone 1, it takes us to camera 1. If I speak into microphone 2, it takes us to camera 2, which is a PC screen. Now, if I speak into both of these at the same time, it takes us to a wide shot. Yes. Okay, let's go back to microphone number 2, which is the PC screen. Now, if I go silent, it should go back to a wide shot. It did. Awesome. So here we are at the end of another successful setup. I know this one was a little long and a little complicated, so I hope I did my job in making it easy to understand. But if you do still have questions, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. If this video was helpful to you, or if you just like watching it for entertainment value, please like and share and subscribe and hit the bell so you get a notification the next time we have a video. And I'd like to mention, we're now on Patreon. So if you'd like to support the channel, any little bit helps. And until we see you next time here on Quick and Easy Quickies, thanks for watching.